Everybody want to gather back in? After. I want to say hello again to our live audience. I want you to know that's very important to me. If you will, I haven't said anything about my Facebook page or my website, the Grief and Grace Community, but if you go to the Facebook page, you'll see stuff on there. Please like, comment, do all that stuff. It sure is helpful. And as everybody's gathering back in, who knows why you're wearing this badge? Can anyone remember? Yes, it is your Griever's Toolbox, and it is a very grounding experience. It helps to calm the brain when you have a tool that you can use, something physical and tangible. Remember what we talked about yesterday about the amygdala part of the brain? That's that part that's like it's that fight, flight response thing that will go off, and it's like it's going like fire, 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 and then the prefrontal cortex is the reasoning part of the brain. And so when you're in grief and you're all wound up, and then you have something that will ground you and all of that, it helps to calm you down, and that's what this is. This is a tool that you can use to help your prefrontal cortex come back down to reasoning, and that's what I was talking about yesterday when I said, Brother Manchester's like, it's just the smoke alarm. Okay, so that's what this is. So on your badge from the Mapping the Loss session, for now, I just want you to put what you think might be your biggest loss, okay? For some of you, it's going to be very obvious if you've had a major traumatic loss. Just write down for number 3 what you feel like your biggest loss might have been. Like, if I had done this before I had lost my father, my grandfather, and my spiritual mother, I would have put my dog Tina, which shocked me when I did my grief training. Now it has shifted. If I were to do my loss map now, it has shifted to something different. But I want you to put what you think it is at this stage of the game for number 3 on your badge. And then when you do your loss map, let me know, or let Bishop know, or Pastor Manchester or Pastor Evans know if it changed, if the Lord revealed something different to you. It's just that letting know is part of that healing process, okay? So we are now shifting to the session 4, the science of grief. Okay, the science of grief. So please turn in your book to the page that looks like this, except yours may be in color, but it says the science of grief. I am going to ask for some participation up front, but I promise I'm not going to ask for anyone to expose their heart. I am, in a few minutes, going to look for some of the strongest people in the room. I look like I've got some guys in the front row that have muscles. Do you have muscles? I see them. Okay, what about you? Okay. All right, well, in a little bit, I'm going to ask for some volunteers, but I'm not there yet. Okay, the science of grief. That's okay. You don't have to do push-ups. Neither do I. Okay. Oh, yes, thank you for reminding me, okay? Remember, if I come around and I'm asking you for something that's going to touch your heart or something to, that kind of thing, and you don't want to participate, and that's okay, just put your hand on your heart. I'm not going to come around. I'm not going to embarrass anybody. I'm not going to expose anybody. Okay. The science of grief. My goal for this session is to help you understand that grief is not weakness. Everyone say that. Grief is not weakness. It is the brain's process of rewiring after love has lost its daily connection. Just as God designed the body to heal, He also designed the mind and the spirit to be renewed through his presence. Now, it's so interesting to me because we understand this when we're talking about other areas, right? We get it. And I touched on this yesterday. We get it if it's offense, if it's anger, if it's this, if it's that. We get it. Be renewed in our mind, take it to prayer, I gotta this, I gotta that. When it comes to grief, it's like we just think we're supposed to just get over it. We're supposed to fix it. It's supposed to be okay. God, wait till you hear all this stuff. It's so cool to me. How our Almighty God designed our brains to heal from grief. Here's some of the word. Romans 12:2. Be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind. I'm trying to talk louder. Can everybody hear me? All right. Okay, thank you. Psalm 23:3. He restoreth my soul. Romans 8:26. The Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. How many of you have ever felt the healing power of the mind, body, and spirit through intercessory prayer? Nothing can separate us from the love of God. I want you to look at someone and say that. Nothing can separate us from the love of God. Now, I want you to understand this. There is a phenomenon, and we understand this, and I would bet you that Bishop gets this. Are there any other military people in the room? Okay, Barry. People that have been in war or knowledge of war understand that if somebody loses a limb, an arm, a leg, something, that they go through this process where they still think that leg's there, they still think that arm's there. Because the brain is wired and yes, they can still feel it itching because those neural pathways are still, right? Listen to this. This is so cool to me. Because your brain has a map. The same exact thing happens in grief. It's the same neural pathways. It's the same brain circuits. There is evidence-based, there's a book, it's in your list, called The Griever's Brain. It's the exact same process. Neuroscience shows the brain creates neural maps. So think about like a GPS map for representations of the people that we are attached to. These maps include routines, sounds, smells, behaviors, roles, and emotional patterns. That's why yesterday, when I was trying to catch my husband's attention, he was enjoying so much fun and fellowship with everybody around. He was in his own little world. And I was looking at my husband and going, I wanted him to take a picture of some of the beautiful people that were going to be coming up. And immediately Bishop picked up on it. Because Bishop's neural map picked up on it because that's probably something him and Sister Smith had connected on. So Bishop's neural map, he has millions of connections with Sister Smith. And part of the grieving process is it doesn't immediately go away, nor does he want it to go away. It's not going to go away, but it keeps firing and it keeps looking. It keeps processing, just like someone that's lost its limb. And so that message of it just takes time. It does take time, but not in the way that we think it takes time, like, oh, well, you're just going to get over it. No, God in his goodness and in his mercy teaches us how to process in a different way and how to allow our brain to reintegrate in a different way. So let me keep going. When someone dies, the brain map doesn't disappear instantly. It remains active. So It's like, in your own home, you get up in the middle of the night, it's dark, you need to go get a drink of water. 9 times out of 10, you don't have to turn the lights on. You just know. Kitchen table's here, counter's there. You just walk and get your water. Okay? Your brain map knows this. Well, if suddenly the table's gone, your brain map doesn't automatically adjust. It takes time for it to adjust that the table's not there. Okay? So I need some strong volunteers, but not super strong. I'll explain why in a minute.
Nobody's that leads all the men out because they're all super strong.
Okay, I'll use the ladies.
And the women go, "Aw." Ada's coming. She's meaner than a junkyard dog. She doesn't love her bishop. But I'm in third or fourth place.
Can you two on that side? Okay, now, I did this. Session, they literally broke the doll. So you're going to stretch, but you're not going to push it over and it'll break. Okay. What I want to demonstrate is we're going to pull and you're going to let go. Okay? Okay. So when I did this,
OH.
okay.
OH.
All right. Oh, let me get my microphone. Sorry. So literally, in your brain, yep, stop, pull, stop. No, pull a little more. Pull. Okay. Look at her face. Your neural pathways are working. Your roadmap is working. And then all of a sudden, somebody's gone. Let go. No, not all of you. Just one of you let go. Okay, do it again. There you go. Do it again. Okay, one of you let go. Go. Do it again. Only one of you. Okay, the person on the right, let go. Let go. Okay. All right, do it again. So you're going through life, everything's fine, and you're feeling like everything's good, and your neural pathways are feeling stretched and pulled. You're under stress, you're in grief, and boom, it's gone. It's searching, it's looking. This is what's actually physically happening in your brain. Pull a little more. Pull a little more. You ever feel like that physically? Let go. Yeah. And so eventually, let's give them a hand. Okay. Now, anybody want to play with the dolls during the rest of the session just for comfort? Eventually, eventually, your brain will find new connections for some of this, okay? But in the beginning of grief, and Bishop, I know I'm using you as an example. I hope that's okay. In the beginning of grief, your brain map, and if it's been a very long relationship with lots and lots of rhythms and lots of maps, brain maps. Yes. Someone please take a picture, Bishop. Your neural pathways are looking over and over and over again. This does not make you broken. This does not make you at fault. This is part of how God made you. You do miss them. It is normal. If you talk to them daily, if you engage with them regularly, if you have a million memories with them, you have a million neural pathways. And so they need to learn, your brain needs to learn what to do now. Okay, I need I need 2 volunteers. Would you help me, sir? I'm not going to ask you to talk, I promise. Give him a hand. Give him a hand. He's he's sitting there so respectfully and attentive. Would you give everybody one of these, please? Okay. Okay. He's going to give you this galaxy slime. Please open it. Now, when I did this at Sister Alyssa's school, the kids, I had to tell them, now don't make a mess in the sanctuary. I promise you this will not stick to your clothes, okay? Open it up. And for the online people, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how we can do it. We'll just have to follow along, I guess. Open it up. It won't hurt you. It will not stick to your clothes. It won't do anything to you, I promise. Okay, I want you to take it out. Take it out and look at these faces. Take it out and stretch it. I want you to look at the colors, the faces. Look at. Would you come up and help me? Can you? Come on up. I need another helper. Will you come up and help me? Come stand up here. Come stand up here. Okay. Can you stretch it? Okay. I want you to see the 2 different colors. Okay? The 2 different colors represent the neural pathways in your brain. I have a book which I can get out and show you that when they do MRI scans or they do brain scans, it actually does light up in different colors. So these colors represent those neural pathways firing for the memories of the people that you love, that they connect, all those brain maps, all those things happening, okay? And so now, you know how we talked about how important it is for you to for you to connect with another person, right? So you're learning. So part of grieving, is it okay if I have you? Part of grieving is learning to understand that it's perfectly normal for you to continually miss them, think about them, wonder what's going on. That's part of your map, your brain map learning. But why it's so important that you don't isolate is that you'll just keep doing that, and your brain map has to find connection. So now, I want everybody to stand up. Thank you, ladies. I want you to tear your slime in half. I want you to go around the room, and I want you to find somebody else besides who you're sitting next to. Brother Goff, you can't do that. No, I said it's not by someone you're sitting next to. Go on. You need to find somebody else that you're... And you need, wait, don't give it to them yet. You need to tell them something about your loved one, and then you need to trade. Tear it in half. Tell them about something about your loved one, and then trade. So they'll each have a half. It doesn't have to be, it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be somebody that's passed. There you go. Now mix your putty together and put it back in the container if you want, or mix it up, whatever you want to do. Okay.
37 minutes on the total.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, everybody come back together, or you can take a couple more minutes. Go ahead, Bishop. I know, but you're doing well. You're doing well. This is doing good. See what this is? She took a step forward in healing. She did? Thank you. Thank you for helping me.
Oh, you're very
Appreciate it. Brother Manchester, Pastor Manchester, would it freeze everybody out if we turned it down one notch?
Oh, you want to turn it down a little bit? Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Just a, I don't want to make everybody uncomfortable, but thank you. Okay. Well, you keep it for now. Honey, can you get a couple pictures of Bishop, please? Bishop? With that thing in his pocket, just impromptu. Okay, let's keep going. So what we just did was an example of first, your neural pathways were firing, right? You were stretching and they were firing. They're looking for your lost loved one. And they'll keep doing that if you have no connections, if you don't talk, you don't process, you don't journal, you don't do any of the things or the tools that I've been teaching you. But when you do have connection, then you allow for that sharing and that bonding. And so now your memories have been joined with another person's memory, and the memories of your loved one have not gone away. You've just learned to integrate them not only with others, but in different places in your own mind, right? So, like, Sister Smith is no longer physically here, and I will talk about this some tomorrow in my message, but yet she lives on in many different ways, and she's going to continue to live on in many different ways. Why? Because we choose to do just what we did with our neural pathways by sharing and talking and choosing to make legacy and to move forward, which is a very biblical thing to do, right? And we can do that with all losses because there is good and honor in all losses. Okay? Okay. So let's go to your handout for a minute. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. To get your handout out, I want to help you fill this out. I'm going to start at the top and read, and then go down and help you fill in the blanks. Dr. Mary Frances O'Connor in The Grieving Brain explains that the human brain is built to attach, to bond deeply. You'll hear this a lot in counseling. The attachment theory is probably one of the first theories that was researched. And I touched on that a little bit when I was talking about the map loss, how the dog I was so deeply attached. I will go through that a few times, not hugely, but we bond very deep and we're deeply attached. These emotional attachments aren't just feeling, they are neural pathways. So now you're never going to look at slime again the same, right? Each time you hug, talk to, or even think about someone, your brain strengthens that pathway. There's actually a whole scientific study, and time and space will not allow for it here, nor do I have my notes on it, but there's actual science behind when you just spend time with someone, like what Bishop does with his mentoring and all of that, the body and the brain, you actually gain in rhythm and sync together. So you're doing much more than him just imparting his knowledge and his wisdom. Scientifically, you're actually becoming in tune with him. And there is a neuroscience transmission that happens. That's why family dinner table is important. And it's something that has become somewhat obsolete in some areas of our country, right? Okay. I already read Romans 12:2. Scientific anchor, Dr. Mary Frances O'Connor told you that. Okay, first bullet point. The brain must update its brain map, learning how to live in a world where that person is no longer physically there. I told you about the kitchen table, that analogy. The same bullet point number 2. I'll give you a minute to write that in. I'll read the first bullet point again. I went a little too fast. I forgot. The brain must update its brain map, learning how to live in a world where that person is no longer physically there. Second bullet point. The same neural networks that store physical sensations also store emotional connection. So remember, we talked about the phantom limb, that they think the leg is still there. That's the same neural networks that store the emotional connection. So you're not going crazy, okay? You're not going crazy when you're going through grief, and it's intense grief. Sometimes someone thinks oh, I thought I saw them, or I thought I saw someone that looked like them, and it shocks you. Now, the enemy will try to capture and twist that and take it the wrong direction. And that's a lie from the pit of hell, and that's a whole other thing. But there really is science behind that flash, for a moment. That's nothing. That's just the brain map going, it's firing, okay? Last bullet point. This process takes time, energy, and compassion. This process takes time, energy, and compassion, just like healing from a physical wound. That's why I want you to understand this. This is why I called this weekend seminar The Science and Soul of Grief. I hope by now you believe and understand that I am full-on apostolic. I can shout and pray, not at the level of bishop, but I can shout and pray, and I understand. I believe this. I'm sold out. But we also need to understand that God made us fearfully and wonderfully, and He formed us, and there is science behind some of the stuff that's going on with us, and we need to be empowered with that knowledge so that we just don't keep going in a circle and not getting better. Okay? All right. How much time am I at, Brother Kevin? Okay. Okay. Everybody still with me? All right. So I taught you about the stretching and how when the brain gets stretched, when those neural pathways get stretched and they hit that empty space, it snaps, right? And there's stress, and there's shock, there's confusion, and that's when the pain happens, right? We stretch Armstrong, and it lets go. Thank you, Bishop. And it's like it hurts, yes. It hurts, and we don't know what to do. That's when we connect to the Lord and we try to connect to another person, okay? It's important. It's important. This is not denial. It's the brain trying to update a very old, very deep map. Okay, think about, my brother has such a complicated computer engineer job, we're so different. Like at one point, I'm not exaggerating, they sent him to Germany to write a book with IBM and some German guy. He's like, Deb, you wouldn't understand what I do if I tried to explain it to you. And it's true. But those computer circuity whatever those things are. So that's what's happening in your brain. It takes, and so when you love deep and you're attached deep, it takes time. And so you want the word, you want all that, but it takes time for that to process. And so when you realize this and you give yourself grace and you give yourself space and you feed on the word and you use talk or coaching and all of this, is you're helping your brain. So what we also did is, this is also another evidence-based grief theory, is it's called healthy continuing bonds. This is where photos, stories, rituals, Sister Smith's, that bench out there I want to take a picture of, the beautiful thing in pastor's office with the photo and the box, all of those things, it's part of grief healing, and it's called continuing bonds. That is neurologically what you did with your putty. You are bonding. You're bonding as a body, because the reality is it isn't, Sister Smith's passing wasn't just Bishop's loss. Bishop's loss was the most profound, of course, but it was all of your losses. I wish I would have been privileged to know her. She must have been so incredible. I would imagine, just by the few videos I've watched and listening to just a few of you, and tomorrow, I hope by tomorrow, you feel close enough and safe enough with me that when I ask for you to share about her a little bit in my sermon, that you will, because it is part of my message, okay? I'm just going to give you forewarning. Now, I'm not looking for a 5-minute saga because I'm respectful of time, but saga is a negative word. I don't mean it that way, but I will ask for her imprint on your life in short, because it's part of what God gave me to say. Now, the whole thing is not about Sister Smith, but it is part of what God's given me, okay? Her handprints, her fingerprints are all over you. And so therefore, you are collectively feeling her loss. She was with you, no doubt, in your losses, in your joys, at your parties, and all of those things. And so your neural pathways are firing. And so when you walk in and you see the bench, she's still here. There's a part of her that's here. Now, she's not physically here. We know that. And I'll talk about that tomorrow. But we are grieving collectively, and we are sharing neurologically, and that's how God made us. Right? Everybody put your hand up. And remember what I said. If you don't want to share, put your hand on your heart. Now, I'm not going to ask anyone to share, but I'm going to move towards someone, and I'm going to say, I'd like to say something, but I won't. But I'm going to move that way. And here I go. How much? This precious family has opened their heart to me. And they've given me permission. I made eye contact and they nodded. Number one, that is a great gift. They just met me yesterday. The best way that you can help them heal is to tell them all the good things that you know and you love about them as parents, as grandparents, and about their children. You leave the not so good things to Bishop and to the pastoral staff. That's Bishop and pastors and God's issues. That's their responsibility, because we all have not so good things. We have a son that was raised in this truth, has a call of God in his life. He is 50 years old, and he still enters in and out of homelessness. I'm not proud of it. I've prayed my guts out, and it is what it is. And if we had time and space and the Holy Ghost moved, there isn't a one of us that doesn't have something somewhere. Thank you. If you are a believer and you are committed to reaching souls and being part of this end time revival, and you really want to win the kingdom, then you will build the body, and you will build your brother and sister. And when there is loss that has situations that, like I referred to about my lady friend with the parrot, that most people, or my dog, or things like that, we're so quick to judge. You could wake up tomorrow and be in the same situation were it not for the mercy of God. Our next breath is in God's hand. Don't you ever forget it. So if you are committed to the call of Christ that God has placed on you in this church, then you use your words to honor, to lift up, to get to know the good things. In your packet, there's a story about my friend Elise. Her son, Keith, took his life at 18. And I worked with her. It's been 15 years now, I think, since I worked with her. 11 years he had passed before then. The story's in there. I spent many, many coffee breaks listening to the good things about Keith. That was sharing neural pathways. That was being Jesus with skin on. I'm not all that. I'm not. I am full of brokenness and foibles, and like I said, mess with one of my babies, I'll take you out. I can't. You bond and heal and bring wholeness by speaking faith and by building up. You do not bond and heal by getting into details and dragging down and being negative. It serves no purpose. It does not build the kingdom. It absolutely does not build the kingdom. That is why Bishop carries the load he does, and that's why he's appointed the pastoral staff that he has. I'm going to touch on this tomorrow also, but the Lord's telling me to say it now, so here we go. My most profound loss now is the loss of my spiritual mother, which also surprised me because I lost my father and my grandfather. And she taught me, you keep your fingers out of God's pie, and you let God do God's business. Okay. How am I doing on time, Brother Kevin? 19? Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. I got to get my bearings here, guys. So the continuing bonds, I know I said this, I'm going to say it again. The photos, the stories, the rituals help the brain to slowly create a new map. So here's what's happening. You're struggling because you're searching and you're looking and you're misfiring, the Stretch Armstrong, all that stuff. And so what you have to do is you have to find what works for you. You know how we talked about the personalities? And so every personality is different. I like to write. I'm a writer. So when I am struggling, I pray sometimes because I'm like, Lord, if my children ever see my journals, I write most when I'm upset. And then I sometimes forget to go back and write what God did and how it turned out. So if I am upset at my precious husband, I don't say, well, he's wonderful, he's perfect. But if I'm struggling and I can't quite get through it, I'm sitting on it, as I talked about, but I'll find a scripture, and I will write the scripture again and again and again, and then I will write out what it is I'm trying to fix, right, in me. Most of it's about what I'm trying to fix. That's my personality coping technique. So you want to take your personality style, this is how God made me, what works for me, right? For me, this might be what works for me. And then you want to understand and recognize, no wonder I'm having such a hard time. My brain map is like going crazy because I have all this stuff going on, and it's looking and searching for my lost loved one and all these routines and all these losses. Now, what am I going to do to try to help calm this down and try to establish some coping techniques? Part of that is the continuing bonds with sharing that we talked about. Some of it is the rituals, like the photos or different things like that. Repetition, structure, Bishop is so good at structure. You're under a great shepherd. Structure brings safety, okay? So when I'm working with somebody who has lost a spouse or who has lost anybody, one of the first things I do, because routines can go out the window, they crash into maybe mild depression or something, is I will sit with them and I will have them get out a calendar. Sometimes I give them a paper calendar. And I will have them mark a day in the week or a day on the month. And I will say, what are you going to do on this day? And depending on where they're at, and we commit to that and we start to build structure back in. Because structure is safety. And so structure of coming to church, structure of meeting a friend for coffee or something else. Those are good things that help to build routine and make you feel safe. And I already touched on how important it is for children. Something else that's very helpful, especially if it's a significant loss of a spouse or anyone really, but particularly if it's a primary loss, let's put it that way, is to begin to think and pray about something new that's different than what you normally have done. And the reason is you're trying to build new neural pathways into something new that wasn't with what you had. Yes, sir. Exactly. Exactly. And it's very important. It is, because why? And there's a if I can send the article to you guys. I just wrote, it came out in this week's column for the local newspaper, about how hard it is in the holidays for couples that have lost someone, because they did everything together, you know, the holidays, parties, or the this or that, and all of a sudden they're going alone, right? And that triggers those things. It's there. And so even if it's, you know, for a woman, maybe it's you never went to pottery class. You never went. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just you're learning to do something different. And is it going to be uncomfortable? Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. If you, you know, if you had a routine like with my spiritual mother, we talked talked every morning. She was up early before I was. I'm giving you my whole sermon, guys. Sorry if I repeat some of this tomorrow. She would be up early in the morning. The Lord would talk to her, and then usually up before me, and I'd have a text from her, and we'd text chat in the morning about the things of God. I miss that so much. I can't tell you how much I miss that. That is a very hard pattern, a brain map, that I will probably never quite get like that. And so I had to come to terms with it. I had to take time to grieve that loss, and I started to pray, and God has sent other people that have filled some of that, but it's never going to be. So instead of crying in my shoes, so to speak, that's a northern term, I think. I flipped the script, because the enemy, we serve a positive God, and the enemy wants me to be in the poor me's. I started rejoicing for the 30 years I had with her, right? I did that, started to do that. And I started to look, I thought, wow, I had 30 years. Who can I give this to? Who can I do this for? And so that was a new pattern for me, because I had spent so much time receiving. I had done some early morning texting to people, but not like she did with me. See what I mean? So you need to think about, what is something new? How can I rewire my brain map? And there is a great book called Switch on Your Brain, and I can't remember off the top of my head if I added it into the list or not, but it also is very science-backed about the Word of God and how it can heal our thought patterns, okay? Just trying to catch up on where I was. Okay, I talked to you about the attachment bonds. So attachment bonds, which is what I already talked about, that the people that we love, the reason that we think about them so much is that it really does comfort us and calm us, like hugging that teddy bear. And so our nervous system will calm when we think about them. And so our neurological system actually goes through withdrawal. That's part of it. I did all that. I'm sorry, guys, trying to catch up. I got ahead of myself. Okay. I got way ahead of myself. So I was talking more than I thought I was, so I think I'm a little bit ahead of the game. I think I'm going to let us take our break now and stop. I was flowing and going, and most of what I was going to say I already said, so I think we're going to stop and take a little bit break, and then can we do that?
Is this our lunch break?
I think so. Is it too soon? Can we open it up for Q&A? Do you want to do that? Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, let's do that. I was flowing and going and rolling, and I went through all the notes I was going to give you, and I don't want to force something, and I'm feeling a pause. Is that okay? Okay. Okay. Well, my husband is wonderful, as you can see, and I appreciate him very much, and I'm going to